In the practice 1 metallographic preparation, we search for the size of the grain of the metal. In this case, it was aluminum. The objectives of this practice was to know and apply the procedure of preparation of samples of the material for the metallographic analysis. Also to identify the obligatory care in the preparation of a sample for a good metallographic analysis. Observe through the optical microscope the microstructure of different samples, and by the observation through the optical microscopy to identify non-metallic inclusions and the grain size.
In phase 1, we need to use the cutting machine to have our piece in a specific dimension. So we need to start to assemble the piece in this part. For assemble the piece, we need to open this part and we put the aluminum piece in that and we close them with the tool. Then we need to put the cage protection. To start the machine, we need to press this green button and then the disc will turn running. So while we're cutting the piece, the disc will start to heat, so we need to use water so the properties of the material don't change. With the part already cut, we need to remove the board to have any imperfections.
In this part we are going to use the mounting press machine. First we take up and down the handle. In this part we need to close the pressure release. After moving a while the handle, we will see how the piston pops. Then we need to clean it with a brush. In this part we put the release agent for the piston. Then we open the pressure release. Next we need to use the backlight with a spoon. Take the excess and put it into the mounting press machine. This part we need to put the head resistance and close the piston. Maintain the pressure in 5. In this part we take the head resistance and put the cooler and wait for 5 minutes.
In this part we are going to use the engraving machine to identify the piece with the team number. You have to draw just like a pen.
So for the sanding process, we put our piece inside the container and we need to adjust it. After we put the container in the machine, we need to adjust the water dispersers and we program the machine to begin to work. For the start, we press the side buttons for 10 seconds and let go once the machine is being working. We wait until the 4 minutes countdown appears, and when it's over, we change the sandpapers. We use 4 types of sandpapers in this practice: 240 to 320, then 400 and finally 600, waiting the respectively 4 minutes for each other. After this, we put rustic powder into the hull and we leave it for another 4 minutes. In sanding, we need to apply water to avoid the increase of temperature.
So first we have to wash our piece. We clean it with water. And then we have to clean it with a cotton. After this process, we have to take out the color and put it on our piece. We have to move it through our piece, taking care of not touching it, and then take it out. After that, we have to put on water again.
First, we are going to turn on the computer and turn on the microscope. Then we select the metal face and we put it on the microscope. The next step is to select the right lens. In this case, we are going to use the lens of 100 first, and we have to focus the image to see the grain in the right way. Once you have saved the image, then you have to close the screen snap and then continue with the next lens. In this part we can see how is the right way to focus an image. In this case we can see how the focus is processed and how is the correct way of seeing the grain on the image. Then we have to change again the lens. We have to analyze which lens we are going to work with, and then we have to choose the right one in order to see the grain in the way we want to be seen.
After watching our sample in the microscope, we can cover it with cotton and tape, so it doesn't scratch.
Each type of grain gets different physical characteristics, for example, the orientation and roughness in the surface. The image shows the formation of the grain by the different lenses of the microscope. In the process of chemical attack, the small ones are shown initial crystals within the formations. Small crystals grow and grew up with others nearby. Changing the lenses of the microscope, we observe the formation of complete grains. Representation of grains in the microscope between the 100x, 500x and 1000x, and the limits of the grains are the separation of all of the grains that we can observe in the images.
So for our sample, we appreciate this piece of aluminum has 3 grains with the 1000 lens. Then we use the formula n equals to 2 elevated to n minus 1. So in the formula, n utilizes the magnification lens we use to appreciate the piece and the standard magnification number it represents. So according to this formula, n gives us a number of 300 grains per square inch. Continuing with this process, we have to use this number in the n formula, which gives us the size of the grain. So according to this formula, the number is 9, which says that our piece of aluminum has a grain of big size.
To observe the physical properties of the metal, so we can choose the best option of material according to its application or use, taking in consideration density, elasticity modulus, thermal expansion, melting point, electrical resistivity and conductivity, specific heat, and also magnetic properties. The number in the sandpaper indicates the size of the grain. When the number increases, it means that it is more fine. Since we used a soft material, we used a 240, 320, 400 and 600 sandpaper. Overcharge a sample makes it look burned out. That happens when we left the color more than 20 minutes in the sample.